Welcome back to Step by Step, a podcast brought to you by Palmetto Conservatory of Dance. I'm your host, Antonia Diaz, and today our guest is Isabella Fernandes. Tell us a little bit about you. How are you?
Sure. I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be here. Hi, my name is Isabella Fernandes. Also, I go by Isa. I love using both. It's a fun way, so I guess jumping straight into it, I love to use they, them pronouns as well as she, her pronouns, but I tend to prefer using they, them pronouns in the studio because I have a huge love for men's jumps and just like learning. I love to do it all. I love the challenge of everything. So being the flexibility of having Isabella and having Isa and having they and having her and having my men's jumps and my point shoes. And I guess that's kind of a scary rundown of a jumping straight first into who I am.
I love it. I usually like doing an introduction of our guests, but I wanted you to do it this time up front.
Yeah.
Because that is the main reason I have Isa today, and I wanted you to be part of the podcast. There's a lot behind the evolution of dance that is very unspoken, and what better place the step by step than taking one step at a time into evolving with dance. So that's our main focus with Isa today. You have a lot to tell us, so I'm going to jump straight to it.
Let's go.
Share a little bit of how you got into dance, your background getting into dance.
Yeah, so I have the cutesy backstory. It all comes from my sister. I wanted to be just like my big sister who was in ballet. So, I remember picking her up with my mom and, standing and staring into the studio. There was one of those big drop down studios. You could see all of the girls, and we were rehearsing in their tutus that day. And I was like, that's so cool. I was like, I want to put on a tutu like that. And I just wanted to be like my sister, so I remember asking my mom to enroll me. And from there, it never was kind of a second thought. It was just always something that I was doing. It never was, it was never a consideration of, am I going to keep going? Because it was. Like, I was going to go back. I was going to go do something. And we moved states, and it was, okay, do you want to do ballet or do you want to do something else? And I was like, I think I want to do something else. And I started in jazz, and that's where I learned how to do all saxophone fouettes. And that was the first big turn that I had learned how to do, and that I think unlocked something within me where I felt that challenge, and I was like, oh, there's something extra that I can do. Because then I started taking team ballet classes to kind of get back into it, and it was different. It was fun, but I don't know.
Nice. Within that journey of course training, at what point did you think maybe I want to do this professionally?
Yeah, so high school, it comes to that point in time where everyone's applying for college, and I was doing the International Baccalaureate in school, so I had put 4 years into it. I was applying to everything. I had applied to 9 different colleges. I had scholarships from all of them. But I also was trying for their ballet programs as well. Every college that I applied to was either a ballet major or a science major where I could potentially do ballet as well. And it got to a point where I had to make a decision. And all of a sudden, my teacher growing up, Kim Parmer, amazing woman, she presented me with this opportunity. She was like, so I know someone who knows someone, of course, as it always is. And they're hosting an audition for the trainee program at American Repertory Ballet. Go and do it. Why not? Go for it. I was like, okay, I'm auditioning anyway, so I might as well. So I went, I did it, I loved it. I had a great time. I really bonded with the woman, Pamela Levy, who was there teaching the class. And from there, it was kind of history. I just was like, I'm not going to go to college for me where I feel like I don't want these extra academics. I want to see what company life is like. For real, I want to see if I'm going to do it or not. So let's go train with a company. And that was kind of where I made the decision of, okay, school will come later. My body can only do this for so long. Why not try it? If this opportunity is here, 2 years.
Absolutely.
Let's go. Sign me up. Let's go have some fun. So I really just felt like I dove off the deep end there and made that decision to, yes, not everyone is going to agree with the fact that I didn't go to college, but that's okay because, like I said, you can always go back for college.
That's right. It's a very
My
dope
brain
one.
will be there longer than my kneecaps, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah, muscles right here are going to last way longer than how we use these all the time.
Yeah.
Now, after all this decisions into the professional world came, how did you decide to approach how you identify yourself? How was that match in your maturity personally and artistically
Yeah.
once you went into the professional world?
So I feel like it really was one of those slow burn moments, not to be ironic, but I didn't know about it that much when I was a kid. And it wasn't that it was hidden from me, but we didn't know about it. There was not enough representation. Without representation, you don't know. So I didn't know that I could wear skin colored tights and skin colored point shoes. I didn't know that if I wanted to, for the heck of it, I could learn the men's steps. Like, why not?
Yeah.
Right? But I had never been presented that. So for years, it was always, okay, I'm trying my best to fit into with what all of these rigid ballet expectations are, which is I need to fit in these pink tights and point shoes to fit into this tutu to look and match the whole core. I need to align and be what is expected of me. But at the same time, I was like, but there's more than just that. So it really changed when I went to Oregon. When I was in Oregon, I danced for a company where we didn't have, like always, very many men. And we were putting on a performance. Instead of doing the Nutcracker, we always did something different. So this year we were doing Babes in Toyland. And I don't know if you know anything about the characters, but there is a main villain and his sister. They're the evil villains. And then the villain's sidekick, which is usually played by a guy. But we didn't have anyone to play that part, and the guy who was supposed to come to fill it didn't. And I really wanted to give it a try because it was like a comedic comedy role where it didn't have to do that much. There was going to be no partnering. It was really just like a little soloist part.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know if you can be that funny. Can you act? And I was like,
yeah.
I don't know if... Try me.
Yeah.
Try me. How bad could it be? I think I'm hilarious, but try me. So it happened. I had to, hit a guy over the head with a mallet and wheel him off in a wheelbarrow, which is difficult when he's a good 6 feet or 6 inches taller than you. So like, I don't know if you've ever wheeled a wheelbarrow full of soil, but they're very...
Yeah. And
8 counts to get a grown man off stage is... I was doing my push-ups on the side. I had to carry him across stage at one point, but it was a challenge. And I had this little hat and this giant coat and pants. And most people in the audience, when I came out after, had no idea what character I was. They were like, who were you? And I was like, I was the villain's sidekick, the little mushroom guy. And they were like, that was you? We thought that was a guy. And I was like, your expectations. It's just kind of like, I feel like there is so much limitation within the roles of expected binary that you're limiting your dancers, you're limiting your own performances. If
100%.
a dancer has an ability to embody that character or to create that next level, why would you take that away from your own production? Right? I feel like there's so many missed opportunities within that, but that company and that show really changed things for me, because then it was like, oh, I can go on stage as a guy.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter.
And it reads just like it should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you use the magical word, expectations. And I'm gonna challenge that with not all companies are like the one where you were in Oregon.
Exactly.
How have you approach those challenges of going into a company and then having this rigid expectations, both the audience and direction?
Right. So there's a certain level of respect that goes along with the expectations. So like with freelance going hand in hand, if I'm going to take a contract from someone, I'm not necessarily going to take a contract where it's explicitly written against some of my own beliefs or things that I hold respectable for myself. So I have experienced certain challenges where I got to go guest somewhere and the roles that I was given weren't exactly what was listed in my contract, but I was never treated with disrespect. So within the rigidness of the company, there is a sense of you have to adapt. And you're really taught that, like going back in the trainee program, you're really taught of how to adapt. You're always potentially offered a core part in the company. So you have to know all the understudy roles, but it's never promised. You have to know it in rehearsal. You might get called in to do it, but so it's really difficult, and there's always a choreographer is going to ask for something. Some choreographers might ask for pink tights and pink shoes, but the reason that they're asking is because they might not know that you want the option of wearing skin color tights and skin color point shoes. So if you are able to have that conversation with the choreographer, that changes things entirely within the rigidness of ballet, because it's also all about respect and expectations. So if you can approach this person who is meeting you with rigidness with respect of where your expectations and their expectations can meet, that's where the fluidity and compromise can really come together. And I feel like can bring us to something more than just what our baseline expectations are.
Yeah. 100%. I haven't mentioned, but Isa is one of our teachers, part of the staff at Palmetto Conservatory. And I do want to know, because I've taken Isa's class, which is pre-professional level.
Yes.
And thankfully we have an open conversation with our older kids, that they know who we are and what we believe in. But how do you deal with teaching the younger ones and still putting in that essence of you, which is inclusivity, and especially in your contemporary class, find your own voice?
Yeah. So I have the same, expectations. It really continues. I have the same expectations for all of my students. So I expect all of my like boys to be able to hold planks for as long as my girls. I expect all of them to be able to do the same tricks. I have all of them try the same things. I never introduce steps with binary. I'm always like, okay, so this is what we're doing today. And I will give the steps as they are without the necessary, this is what you're expected to do and this is what you're expected to do. Why not everybody learn both? Because that makes you stronger overall. So that's really something that I strive to do. And I always, I treat my dancers as my dancers. I'm always like, hello dancers, like, how are we today? And I'm never like, all right guys, like boys over there, girls over there. There's no real need for that, because the teamwork is what makes a core as well. So you have to know how to find your individuality. So with contemporary, there are so many things in contemporary. And I know Evan touched on this when you asked him about so many questions in his podcast, but he touched on how there were so many different kinds of contemporary.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult to teach. It really is, because I have my own way of moving, and it's the way that my body speaks, which is very different from the way that your body speaks. But you have to teach kids ways to feel their body. So it's almost a very tactile thing, and teaching all of them all of the different ways to be tactile within their body and within their surroundings is how they unlock their own speech, because they figure out what feels good for them. So I have one dancer who really loves creepy, sharp, dynamic things, and I have another dancer who loves very heartfelt, genuine moments. And I have another dancer who takes very daring risks and also follows her peers. So it's like beautiful to see the different ways that their voices come out, while also providing them with all of the things that they could have, rather than just limiting them. Because I would never want to limit them from their full potential.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's the most important thing, is to treat every dancer, regardless of how good their technique or flexibility or typical ballet expectation body might be, dances for everyone. And that's what I really try to work for with my kids, because why do we dance? We dance because we love it. And that's why they should be doing it.
100%. Have you ever, and I'm going to flip the situation now, have you ever run into a kid that comes limited, that for whichever reason has come, and you notice that there's a limit there, a self-put limit. How do you deal with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see it in so many different kids, in almost every kid in a different way, right? Because every kid has their own self-doubt. Every kid has something they're really good at and that they cling to, and then something that is their insecurity. My insecurity is adagio.
I feel like there's a lot of people there that will,
right? You know, and then there are some people who love adagio. But the best thing to do, like, it's really difficult with helping a kid overcome a challenge like that in any other way than supporting them at their own pace. So continually challenging them without making them feel frustrated. It's taking baby steps and rewarding every little baby step that they get, because especially with contemporary, it's trying something completely new. Ballet is upright and strict and there are rules. Contemporary is just a pile of noodles that you can play around with and call it art, in all honesty.
Yeah.
And it's difficult to teach that to a kid who's still grasping how to move all of their body parts at different times in different directions. So by opening up that little door of confidence, and that's all you really need to do, whether or not it's perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. I'm never perfect. You want them to feel confident and good in what they do. I always say to my kids, if we're doing something weird and you think you look weird, you look weird.
Yeah.
If you commit to it, it's going to look incredible. Lady Gaga is not Lady Gaga for nothing.
That's so true.
So I try to inspire
and if anybody has been called weird multiple times.
Exactly. I try to inspire my kids by bringing in real people that they've seen and that they can relate to, with the combos that we do, with the people that I talk about, with the music that I use. So it's finding those little pieces of helping them open their own door by providing them the tools to make them feel confident, rather than giving them false confidence, because they can all achieve everything that they want to. They just need to be given the right building blocks to get there. Yeah, they're all wonderful. I love my kids here.
I know you do. And in this journey, and this question can go either for your teaching self or for your dancing self. In all this journey, what has been one of the most remarkable, rewarding moments for you? That you're like, this right here, we've hit a milestone.
Yeah. Easiest, fastest one that comes to mind was Osmo, when Andile came and we got to set his piece, and I got to work with him really closely. I know Brianna also had some wonderful opportunities, but Maria, Bobby, and I really got to spend some quality time with Andile, and he gave me the opportunity to close out the piece in silence with no music. And I have never felt anything more powerful than being up there, finishing that finale with all of you and all of our energy being together, and then it just settling into silence where all you could hear was me trying to breathe through the entire theater. I will never forget that. Like, having people come up to me afterwards and be like, I was breathing with you. That really was a milestone for me. That was a huge moment. I loved that piece more than anything. I really felt like it brought pieces of our company closer together. It was
100%.
It was a powerful moment for a lot of us.
Yeah.
I think it was really beautiful. We all got to work together. Like, it was one of the most positive experiences for me with the people that I work the closest with in our little groups.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Absolutely. I have to say, it's beautiful that you mentioned that, because it signifies a lot too for us that we're right there behind you.
Yeah. And I always felt you with me in those moments.
And I will never forget, we practiced it multiple times in the studio. And of course, the silence, it was different every time. That's the magic of contemporary works as well. But we were ready for it. We knew by the time we got it on stage that there was silence there, and the choreography continued. The audience not always knows that. And again, we go back to the expectation. Music went off and people started clapping until they were like, this is not done. And it was a good bit of silence and a good bit of choreography. So it was clear that it wasn't over.
Yeah.
So you could feel immediately the whole,
everybody
just being like, this is not done. But now you've completely taken us from our expectation zone. So what's next? Is it going to come back? Is it going to be like completely over? And it's the first time ever really that I've heard people yell things or clap in the middle of a silence. Mm-hmm. People usually clap at the end of the music or at the beginning. This was like we like this. We don't know when it's going to be over, so we're just going to keep feeding into it. And it was so powerful. And we were still. You were moving. We were still. They were still. So it was such a like powerful, energizing moment. And by the time it was done, the energy just felt so high up, and that's something that I was never
like about to burst into tears. It was crazy. Yeah,
100%.
Awesome.
And it's the only time it's made on stage.
Yeah.
So it's 100%. Love that milestone as well.
It was a once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Now I'm gonna move a little bit to not the rough, but like the more real, less up in the air, reality. A lot of dancers, and you're one of them, have second jobs. Because right here we get to dream, but we need another way to live.
Yeah.
How has that been for you? What lessons or what's your experience with having a second job?
I spent years in the service industry as my second job. You know, waitressing, that was the way that people were doing it, right? You know, most dancers that I knew, it was okay, you know, I'm serving before, so 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. I'll see you in the studio at 8 or whatever, and it's horrible. Or you're doing night closing shifts. It's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. And having to have that customer service, happy-go-lucky, how can I serve you? What do you need? I'm so sorry. It's crazy, the things that we do, right, to make our dreams come true. And now I have left the service industry, sort of, and I'm working for Trader Joe's, which is a wonderful second-time job for me. I'm able to have a really flexible schedule, and it's, you know, nothing is ever ideal.
Yeah.
But with all of the other jobs that I have worked, this one is a consistent place where I have met some amazing friends. So despite having to add an extra, you know, 16 to 24 hours of work outside of here, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, but at the end of the day, once you've done rehearsals, feels like a whole lot. It's nice to know that it's not always in vain and that there are moments that make it worth it. And it helps when we realize why we do it, because we love it. But it's really difficult when a lot of people don't know how much goes into the entertainment business itself, and that it's not just, oh, you get a music video. You're not just paying for that. You're paying for all the dancers in the music video. You're not just getting suddenly like a dance in a music or in a movie. You have a choreographer and dancers that have to learn it, and auditions that go through, and there's so much more with every production. Every advertisement that you see on TV might have a dancer in it. You know, there's so many people out there trying to get themselves out there that it's really difficult when people don't see your work as you, and they don't realize that they have to pay for the service as well, because you may be performing, you may be doing something you love, but that doesn't mean that you're just paying the company.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets messy. And that's the uncomfortable conversation that a lot of people don't want to have.
Yeah.
Is where is the money really going, and why are we not getting paid? How are we putting on these productions when at the end of the day, we are still only getting maybe 2 pairs of pointe shoes for the performance? And I had to switch to gainers because I was suffering through going through shoes too quickly.
That's right.
And it's not, it's not a switch that I necessarily love, but it's one that I had to make because of the cost, because we don't get paid. And it's tough with always having to work a second job. It gets exhausting. Like, I love teaching. I love my kids and I love being here, but then also so I really have 3 jobs, because I dance here, I teach, and then I'm at Trader Joe's. And I have a stint where I have 3 days in a row of ballet, Trader Joe's, ballet teaching, ballet, Trader Joe's. And by the time I get to Friday and we finish rehearsals at the end of the day, I'm crawling myself back across the pavement to get out of here. Yeah. Because I am so dead. And I don't want that for myself. I want to be able to go to the gym and cross train as much as possible, because you want to invest in your career. So the real question is, why are we not getting paid enough for us to bring the level of quality that is being expected of us? That's right. Your expectations are too high for there is no reward. Yeah. So the incentive is almost not there.
That's true. What do you think? And you can dream as much as you want with this answer. What do you think that companies should do better for that to happen? Because it's not always only about the money, even though that's the main factor that we're talking about. Yeah. But what do you think that can be fixed that it's not being fixed in that situation?
I feel like we just need to have more uncomfortable conversations. It's all about communication, and we are so behind in communicating within the dance world. We don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations. Companies are very, very slowly starting to break the barriers of no tights on stage, maybe, or skin colored tights in performances, and having androgynous roles being presented in a company. But we really just need to have the uncomfortable conversations, because having those uncomfortable conversations doesn't necessarily mean you're making the change overnight, but it's sitting down directors and dancers, boards and directors and dancers, and being like, what are your expectations? Yeah. Here are my expectations. How do you want to be respected? Because you don't you want to know who you're working for, and don't you want to know who's working for you? Because you want them to represent you just as much as you want to represent them. So it's a bigger collaboration than I feel most companies are taking advantage of right now. I feel like there are so many, not problems or issues, but so many things where people are not feeling seen could be challenged or changed if these conversations are had. Because there's a lot of sit and listen in ballet, where you get told what to do. You are directed, but there's none of the other way around. There's never any feedback. And I feel like we need to have some feedback, because dancers are human as well. And what we go through, you see it in your students as well, especially with the pre-pros when they come in, because they're here all day. Yeah. So it's easier to see how things affect other people than it is for you to feel it in yourself sometimes. And that can be really eye-opening in the sense of, okay, so these kind of conversations need to be had. Why is this being said? Why are we feeling this way? Like, how can we combat this? What do we need here? What do the dancers need so that we can effectively move forward? I feel like it really comes down to having those uncomfortable conversations.
100%. And you would think that the entertainment industry has people that know how to communicate, and most of the time, that's not the case.
No, most of the time it's, because you're given a script, you're given a dialogue. In a ballet, you're given a performance, you're given a sequence of steps to learn, to memorize, to make your own, and then present back.
That's right.
Rarely in contemporary, you're allowed to improvise.
Right.
But, not necessarily within ballet. And and even with within improvisation, you're given guidelines sometimes. Yeah. So, I don't know.
And yet we love it.
We do.
Which is what takes me to my next question. For everybody that's out there, and nowadays we have this information, we have these troubles available in our phone. We know what is going on in a lot of companies, and we know those are the big companies, so the smaller ones are also going through that, and even worse. Yeah. What would you advise these young dancers that are ready to come into this wild professional dance world?
Reach out, use your network. It's all about network these days. Like, even if it's just hey, like my dance teacher says that you dance here. I'm trying to audition. Can you tell me if you're happy there? Do you like it? Ask questions. I feel like so many new dancers don't ask enough questions. I met one of my best friends who was here for a few years, Ileana, because she asked me questions at American Repertory Ballet.
Yeah.
If she never asked me questions, I wouldn't be sitting with you today.
Yeah.
And you have to, because the more questions you ask, the more people you'll meet. The more people you meet, the more opportunities you're given. I wouldn't have gotten half of the guesting opportunities I got if I didn't go to certain places and talk to certain people.
Yeah.
It really is a huge thing about that. If you're concerned about whether or not you're going to be happy in a certain summer program, ask some dancers who have been there before. Even if you don't know them, social media is such a big thing now. You can see sometimes like dancers will post whether they've been to a certain summer intensive. You can see it on there. Send them a message. Be like, hey, I know you don't know me, but I've got some questions about this summer program I just got accepted to. Like, would you recommend it? Because so many different dancers have different experiences than what is portrayed. And I feel like that's so important, because I had not fun experiences at some super great summer programs, and I had some amazing experiences at some not very like well-known summer programs. So I feel like you really just have to be picky about what you want,
Right.
because you're not only auditioning for them, like they're auditioning for you
as well,
because you want to be happy there. If you're going to go dance somewhere for someone, you want to make sure that you are the one who's going to be dancing there. Like, you don't want to sacrifice yourself or any part of your whole person for a company. You know, you never want to be dictated how well you dance or how many roles you're given based on the number that's on a scale, or, you know, be asked to present yourself in class a certain way. You know, when you show up to rehearsal professionally and you know your choreography and you do your job, that is what I feel should be expected. I don't know. Yeah.
In this like Q&A session as well, we got some audience interested in knowing about freelance jobs. I talked with Evan a little bit about how that was when you decide to freelance off of school. But I would like to know, how would you advise dancers that are in a company that may be thinking, actually, I should just do this on my own?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's not a bad idea. If you have the drive and the commitment to do freelance work, then I say go for it. But it takes more work than being in a company, because you are even more of a self-motivator. You have to be the one reaching out to people. You have to be the one creating reels, creating all of this work. You have to be putting in the time for your training, because you're not taking class every day. So you have to make sure that you are in the best shape you can be, so that when you do get that call back, you're ready to go, because you don't have time to catch up. And it's difficult because most of my freelance opportunities were handed to me through pure luck and through a series of unfortunate events that led to good circumstances. I was with a company that ended up not being able to pay the dancers anymore. So I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to stay and work for free. And then I was given an opportunity to go guest with Nevada Ballet for their Nutcracker for 2 months. So I said, okay, wonderful. Because one of the other people knew one of the other people who knew someone who was there, and it happened to work out. And from there, I sent out a few more emails, because I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. And I have a current guesting gig. So because I was on that kick of let me get it out there, I had fresh, real information. I had a fresh resume. I was able to grab another gig. But then after that, it was audition season. It was February, March. So I started doing auditions, and that's when I landed upon this opportunity. So I've been in company work since then. But I'm not the biggest up and go getter every single day. I don't love sending emails. You know, it's really hard. Audition season gets to me every year, and I know it gets to a lot of dancers. It's a really emotionally tolling time. You know, excuse me. They always say you get 100 no's before you get a yes, and they really do mean it. And it's never a personal rejection, but sometimes it really does start to feel that way. And with freelance work, it can be a lot of that. So if you are not like an optimistic, self-motivating person who's got a good community to stand behind you, it can be really challenging to maintain all of the demands of finding that next gig and keeping going and being okay with having some downtime.
100%.
And how you're going to fill that in with whatever part-time jobs you have. So it's never easy. Either way, it's never easy. But freelance is definitely less consistent, but can be far more rewarding. And you get to pick and choose once you're a little more established, which can be really nice as well. But you always have to put in the time. And that's how it is for both. It just depends on where you want to put your time.
Absolutely. And along all of this, like, struggles that come with not only audition season, but yes, that intensify themselves there. How do you personally would advise people that struggle in how they identify themselves during audition season? Because sometimes all those rejections make you think, is it because of who I am, and how much of myself am I going to change to get a job? How would you advise dancers that do struggle with that?
Yeah, that's a good one. So I actually was just able to recently participate in my first audition where I was actually labeled as a non-binary dancer. I wore a unitard. I did a little bit of point work and then whipped my boots off, and I did double cabrioles and double tours with the guys. You know, it was the first time I'd ever done a double cabriole, but I didn't hold the expectation for myself to match that of the guys in the room. One, because I know I don't have that level. I know I don't have that level of training yet. I'm still learning, right? But that's the most important part for me, is if I didn't give myself that chance, I would not be authentic to myself.
That's right.
And I want to have fun. So the way that I really approach auditions is it's like a masterclass. You're meeting the person who's teaching and they're meeting you. And my childhood pianist was playing the class. I just decided to have a ball with it. You know, I wasn't there to impress them. I was there to have a good ballet class that was going to make me sweat and to have some fun and see what I was capable of. And I feel like that's the most important thing to do, is when you're struggling to figure out where you fit in, is trust your gut. Find someone there that you feel like you can trust, whether it's the random person that you sat next to while you're waiting, stressed for your number to check in, that you started chatting with before you go to get your like little safety pins and everything, whether it's that person you're standing with at the bar, or whether your childhood pianist is playing the class, or your old summer intensive teacher is there in the company now, you know, whatever it is. If there's someone that you can talk to and you're like, hey, I don't know how this works, but this is what I want to do. Trust someone, because they may be like, okay, well, great. If anything happens, come talk to me. I'll help. Because you should be allowed to present yourself and your authentic self. You should never have to hide who you are. And I feel like that's super important, because the audition is who you're going to work for. And if you're going to be working for them full time, why would you not want to? You can't not be yourself when you're working for them. And I know you can ask Bree. I'm not always the easiest to work with because I have loud opinions, and I am very vocal about when I'm uncomfortable with something, or when someone says something disrespectful. And sometimes it's not always the easiest thing to work with, but sometimes it has to happen in order for uncomfortable conversations to happen, whether it be, Isa, you really need to not do that, or it's actually they're right. We need to have this conversation about why that shouldn't be happening. So it really ties into the whole thing of just don't be afraid. Like, don't ever be afraid. Take those master classes, have fun with it, because it's for you, it's for your career, it's for your future. And if you hold yourself back from any of those opportunities, you're going to spend the rest of your life being like, well, what if I did? And it may have taken me this long to get here to start learning these things, but I'm having more fun with ballet than I have in years, right? And it brings a different spark back to it. You get through different phases of your life where different things mean different things to you.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you just need to look at it from a different perspective.
100%.
And even COVID, having us take a big break.
Yeah.
Didn't know if I was coming back, and yet here we are.
That's right.
So never give up. That's what I say. Opportunities are endless.
That's absolutely right. Where do you see yourself in the future breaking all these boundaries? Whether it's like a near future, a far future, what is your own expectation of what you want?
Well, I am just hoping to keep chugging along the little path that I'm seemingly digging along for myself, which I'm pretty happy for. But, you know, I'm hoping to work with Evan sometime soon. I know the two of us have been talking about creating a little pas de deux, him in point shoes, just kind of seeing what we can create with that, which would be really awesome. But you know, eventually I would love to become a rehearsal director. I want to be able to be someone, I love to nitpick. I love when everyone looks the same, but I also want to be able to be someone that other dancers can come to be like, this is what I need. This is who I am. How can we create something within this to bring your individuality out?
Right.
You know, while still maintaining what our integrity is. So I would love to be able to make that change, not only after I'm done dancing to try and create that path, but to try and continue to allow others to create that path. Because I don't know very many non-binary dancers like myself. I really don't. And there are a few out there, and I feel like there could be many more that I don't know that I would love to know. But there's strength in numbers and in representation, and until we're out there, no one else is going to be there.
Yeah. That's true.
So I'm not going to sit around and wait for someone else to do the job for me when it's my life. So I feel like it's the same for all the other kids. If there's something that you want, you got to go for it.
You got to go do it.
Yeah. And wherever I am in the future, I don't know, but I'm definitely going to be making waves. That's for sure.
That's good. That's important. Sometimes you got to be the loudest person in the room for things to happen. Yeah. So
occasionally it's good to be the quietest as well.
Yeah.
That's why we have balance.
That's right.
I couldn't do half the things without you.
Thank you. Yeah, I love working with Isa, and it's been certainly a process.
Yes.
But in balance, you have everything. Once you identify that, it's beautiful to see what a pure dynamic of balance does for a group.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to wrap it up with one that I'm not sure what to expect. That is our step-by-step question. What is your favorite dance step?
Yeah, this is a good one. I actually don't know if I have a single favorite one.
And that's okay. You can tell us all of them.
I don't know. I really love a good, it's like a combo though. It has to be in the combo, like Alice Sacone Fuetes into an axel jump.
Like, nice.
That's like one of my favorite things to do. That was one of my first tricks that I learned as a kid.
Nice.
But feel good. I love a good grand plie in second.
There you go. There you have it.
A good grand plie in second.
I love it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for having this very comfortable conversation about all those uncomfortable things that sometimes.
Wonderful.
I knew that was gonna be it. This is one of those episodes where I'm like, this is new, this is fresh. So I hope people take it just like we're feeling
fresh haircut.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And how the fresh season is coming up on us too.
Yes, it is. Exciting things coming in the future. Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much for coming. I hope you liked it. And keep following us.
Stay tuned.